The smell of burnt circuitry and ozone clung to the air as Damon Wells wrestled with the controls of the Aegis I. Warning lights flashed relentlessly, and the ship's AI droned a litany of failures. Oxygen reserves critical, propulsion offline, structural integrity compromised. None of it mattered. The alien gravity well had taken hold, and the desolate planet ahead loomed closer with every second. Just one more miracle, Damon muttered through gritted teeth, trying to coax the failing engines into one last burst. But the control panel fizzled, sparks licking his gloves as the ship began its final, uncontrolled descent. The impact came with a bone-rattling shudder. Damon blacked out, the darkness swallowing him like an abyss. When he woke, the world was silent, save for the hiss of venting gas. He unbuckled himself from the pilot's chair and groaned as pain flared through his side. Checking his ribs, he grimaced, bruised, maybe cracked. The cockpit window was cracked but held, revealing an alien landscape beyond. Shards of crystalline structures jutted from the ground like spears of light, refracting a kaleidoscope of colors under a sky streaked with twin suns. It was hauntingly beautiful and utterly unfamiliar. Damon retrieved his emergency gear and staggered out of the wreckage. The air was breathable, though thick and tinged with a metallic tang. His boots crunched against the crystalline soil as he surveyed the area. His ship was a mangled husk, half buried in the iridescent sand. Before he could process his predicament, a sudden hum filled the air, like the resonance of 1,000 tuning forks vibrating in unison. Damon turned, and his heart clenched. A group of figures emerged from the shimmering horizon, their forms tall and graceful, wrapped in flowing garments that seemed to shimmer like liquid metal. Their skin glowed faintly, a translucent sheen that shifted colors in harmony with their movements. "Great," Damon muttered, raising his hand slowly. "First contact, and I'm already the trespasser." The tallest of the group stepped forward, her eyes, if they could be called that, glowing with an intense, otherworldly light. Her gaze locked onto Damon, and he felt an almost physical weight pressing against his mind. "You are not of this world," a voice spoke directly into his thoughts, layered with an almost musical cadence. Damon staggered back, the alien sensation making his head spin. "No kidding," he said aloud, his voice cracking. "Look, I'm just a stranded pilot. No harm intended." The alien woman tilted her head, her expression unreadable. Her presence was commanding, almost regal, and yet there was an undercurrent of curiosity, or was it amusement, in her bearing. "You have come at an auspicious time, human," the voice continued. "I am Lysera, High Sovereign of the Caraxi, and you—" She paused, as if savoring the moment. "You are the one I have chosen." Damon blinked, his mind scrambling to process her words. "Chosen for what?" "To be my life-bound companion," Lysera said, her tone as serene as if she were commenting on the weather. A nervous laugh escaped Damon. "You must have me confused with someone else. I'm not exactly relationship material." Lysera's expression didn't waver, but the intensity of her gaze deepened. "The resonance does not lie. You and I are destined. It is written in the crystal tides of our world." "Destined? Listen, lady, I just crash-landed here. I'm not looking for a soulmate. I'm looking for a way off this planet." Lysera stepped closer, her presence overwhelming. "You cannot deny the pull of the resonance, Damon Wells." The sound of his name on her lips, or rather in his mind, sent an involuntary shiver down his spine. Before Damon could retort, the other Caraxi moved swiftly, encircling him with fluid precision. One raised a device that emitted a soft hum, and Damon felt a wave of exhaustion wash over him. "Wait," he began, but his legs gave out, and the crystalline ground rushed up to meet him. Damon awoke in a chamber that seemed alive. The walls pulsed faintly with light, and the air carried a soft, rhythmic hum, as if the room itself were breathing. He sat up, wincing at the ache in his ribs. Lysera stood nearby, her luminescent eyes watching him with an intensity that bordered on predatory. "I don't suppose I'm free to leave," Damon said, his tone laced with sarcasm. Lysera's lips curved into what might have been a smile. You are under my protection now. No harm will come to you. Great. That makes me feel so much better. Lysera stepped closer, her movements graceful yet deliberate. You may resist, but the resonance between us cannot be ignored. In time, you will see. See what? Damon asked, exasperated. That you belong here with me. The weight of her words settled over him like a storm cloud, and for the first time since his crash, Damon felt the creeping tendrils of something he hadn't anticipated. Fear. Damon Wells found himself in the middle of a room that defied his understanding of architecture. The space seemed alive, pulsating with faint light as if the walls themselves were part of a breathing organism. The ceiling arched high above him, its surface shimmering like liquid glass, capturing fragments of light from crystalline fixtures embedded in the walls. For a moment, Damon forgot his predicament, entranced by the room's beauty. Then Lysera's voice echoed in his mind again, pulling him back to reality. You are in the Hall of Resonance, a sacred space where truths are laid bare. He turned to see her standing at the entrance, her form haloed by the faint glow of the corridor behind her. Despite her alien features, smooth, translucent skin that shifted colors with her mood and eyes that shimmered with a strange inner light, there was something almost human in the way she regarded him. I didn't ask for a guided tour, Damon said, his voice taut. Lysera stepped closer, her gaze unyielding. Perhaps not, but understanding is key if we are to move forward. You must learn our ways, Damon Wells. Resistance will only bring you confusion. I didn't ask for any of this. I crash-landed, and now I'm being told I'm destined to… What? Marry an alien queen? He folded his arms, anger creeping into his tone. You're asking too much. Lysera's expression softened, and her skin shimmered with a faint, calming blue hue. It is not my choice alone. The resonance speaks beyond mere will. It is the song of existence, binding lives together. Yeah, well, I've heard a lot of bad songs in my time. Doesn't mean I'm dancing to this one. Her lips curved into a faint smile, an expression Damon had come to suspect was her attempt at amusement. You have spirit. That will serve you well among my people. The next few days passed in a haze of curiosity and unease. Lysera assigned him a guide, a Caraxi named Terran, whose sharp wit and irreverent demeanor clashed with the formality of the hall. Ah, the human awakens, Terran greeted Damon with a flourish one morning. Ready to bask in the grandeur of Firaxis Prime, or perhaps just avoid offending the High Sovereign? Damon sighed. Do I have a choice? Not really, Terran said cheerfully. But look on the bright side. At least you'll get a crash course in culture without the boring textbooks. Come, human, let me show you why our world is the jewel of the galaxy. Terran led Damon through the sprawling capital, a city suspended in the air atop massive crystalline pillars. Floating bridges connected buildings that shimmered like gemstones, their surfaces alive with flowing light. Below, vast jungles of bioluminescent flora stretched into the horizon, their glow faint but constant. Despite himself, Damon was fascinated. Your world, it's alive. Everything here feels connected. Terran grinned. You're catching on. The resonance isn't just a concept. It's a force that ties everything together. Life here thrives because of it. But what does that have to do with me? Damon asked. Everything, Terran replied cryptically. You'll figure it out soon enough. That evening, Damon found himself back in the Hall of Resonance, where Lysera awaited him. The room was quieter now, the pulsating light subdued, casting a softer glow. You're learning, she said, studying him with those unrelenting eyes. Learning what? He retorted. That I'm stuck here until you decide what to do with me? Her skin shifted to a faint gold, an emotion Damon hadn't yet deciphered. I am not your captor, Damon. I am your guide. You resist because you do not trust me. This I understand. You understand nothing about me, he snapped. You don't know what it's like to lose everything and be forced into someone else's story. The glow around Lysera dimmed slightly. You believe you are alone in your pain, but you are wrong. I too know loss. For the first time, Damon saw a crack in her composure. Her gaze drifted to a crystal panel embedded in the wall. It shimmered faintly, projecting an image of a male Caraxi, his features softer but unmistakably similar to hers. Who is he? Damon asked, his voice quieter now. He was my mate, Lysera replied, her tone heavy with an unfamiliar sorrow. He perished during a resonance surge, a failure of balance. Damon hesitated. I'm sorry. Lysera met his gaze, her vulnerability cutting through the tension between them. Pain is a universal language, Damon. Perhaps in this, we are not so different. The days that followed were a strange mix of tension and understanding. Lysera continued to insist on the resonance, while Damon struggled to reconcile his growing curiosity with his reluctance. One morning, as Terran guided him through the singing caverns, a vast underground network where crystalline formations emitted harmonic tones, Damon found himself mesmerized. The resonance here was palpable, a hum that vibrated in his chest and seemed to align with his heartbeat. It's beautiful, he admitted, almost to himself. It is the voice of our world, Terran said, uncharacteristically serious. And it's calling to you, Damon. The words unsettled him, not because he didn't believe them, but because a part of him did. That evening, Damon returned to his quarters, a space crafted specifically for him. The walls shimmered with Earth-like constellations, and the air carried a faint, comforting warmth. Lysera was waiting for him, her presence as commanding as ever. You felt it today, didn't you? She asked. Damon hesitated, then nodded. I don't know what it means, but yeah, I felt something. Lysera stepped closer, her voice softer now. It means that despite your resistance, the resonance is awakening within you. It is not a bond to be feared, Damon. It is a gift. He looked at her, conflicted. I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for any of it. Destiny rarely asks for permission, Lysera said, her gaze unwavering, but it always finds a way. As the silence stretched between them, Damon felt a flicker of something he couldn't quite name. Understanding, perhaps, or maybe acceptance. For the first time since his crash, he wasn't entirely sure what he wanted. The faint resonance of Firaxis Prime filled the air like an endless symphony, threading through every corner of the crystalline city. Damon Wells walked along one of the floating bridges, the luminous tendrils of light beneath his feet, casting shifting shadows on his face. He'd come to appreciate the beauty of this alien world, but it felt like a gilded cage, a place he hadn't chosen and didn't belong. His guide, Terran, ambled beside him, unusually silent. Damon glanced at the Caraxi, whose normally irreverent demeanor was replaced by a subdued intensity. What's with the brooding? Damon asked, breaking the silence. Terran hesitated before responding. Something is off. The resonance has been fluctuating in ways it shouldn't. I've never felt anything like it before. Fluctuating? Damon frowned. What does that mean? Terran gestured around them. The resonance is the lifeblood of our world. When it's stable, everything flourishes, but instability... He trailed off, his glowing eyes narrowing. Instability leads to fractures, chaos. Death Damon's stomach tightened. And you think this has something to do with me? Terran smirked faintly. You're certainly an anomaly, human. But I don't think even you could cause this level of disruption, at least not on your own. Before Damon could press further, a tremor rippled through the bridge, causing him to stagger. The harmonic tones that always filled the air warped into discordant echoes, a sound that made Damon's skin crawl. What the hell is happening? Damon demanded, gripping the edge of the bridge for balance. The resonance, Terran shouted over the growing cacophony. Something is interfering with it. Back in the Hall of Resonance, Damon and Taryn arrived to find Lysera already in action. She stood at the center of the chamber, her form bathed in a fierce golden light as she manipulated a series of crystalline controls. "Lysera," Taryn called out, his voice tinged with urgency. "The resonance is destabilizing. What's going on?" Lysera didn't turn to face them, her focus fixed on the shifting patterns of light in front of her. "There is an external force disrupting the balance," she said, her mental voice taut with concentration. "The crystal tides are in flux, and it threatens the very fabric of our world." Damon stepped forward, his jaw clenched. "Is this about me? Did I trigger this somehow?" Lysera's gaze flicked to him briefly, her expression unreadable. "You are connected to the resonance, Damon, but this disturbance is not your doing. It is something else." Before she could elaborate, a sharp crack echoed through the chamber, followed by a violent tremor. The crystalline walls flickered, their light dimming ominously. Lysera's calm demeanor finally faltered. "They have returned," she murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. "Who?" Damon asked, dread creeping into his chest. Lysera turned to face him fully, her skin glowing a deep crimson. "The Veilborn, a rogue faction exiled from our world generations ago. They seek to corrupt the resonance and claim it as their own." Taryn cursed under his breath. "If they breach the central crystal nexus, the entire system could collapse." "Then why are we standing around talking about it?" Damon snapped. "What can we do?" Lysera stepped closer to him, her gaze piercing. "The nexus is protected by layers of resonance fields, but they will not hold for long. You must come with me, Damon. Your connection to the resonance may be the key to restoring balance." Damon hesitated, the weight of her words sinking in. He'd spent his life running from responsibility, from attachments, from anything that required more of him than he was willing to give. But now, faced with the potential destruction of an entire world, he felt something stir within him, a sense of duty he couldn't ignore. "All right," he said finally. "What do we need to do?" The journey to the Crystal Nexus was fraught with danger. The Veilborn had already infiltrated parts of the city, their shadowy forms flickering in and out of sight like living phantoms. Damon and his companions navigated through labyrinthine corridors, their path lit by the faint glow of Lysera's presence. As they moved, Damon found himself drawn to Lysera in ways he didn't fully understand. She exuded a calm strength, a quiet determination that both inspired and unnerved him. Despite the chaos around them, she seemed utterly certain of their course. "You trust me more than you realize, Damon," Lysera said suddenly, her voice breaking through his thoughts. He glanced at her, startled. "You can read my mind?" "Only what you project," she replied with a faint smile. "Your doubts and fears are loud, but so is your resolve. You are more than you think you are." Damon didn't know how to respond, so he focused on the path ahead. When they finally reached the Nexus chamber, Damon's breath caught in his throat. The space was vast, its walls adorned with crystalline spires that pulsed with vibrant light. At the center stood the Nexus, a massive crystal that seemed to hum with the energy of the entire planet. But the Veilborn were already there. The rogue faction was a stark contrast to the Caraxi, their forms cloaked in shifting shadows that seemed to devour the light around them. They moved with an eerie grace, their presence sending a chill down Damon's spine. Lysera stepped forward, her light intensifying. "You will not succeed," she declared, her voice echoing through the chamber. "The resonance will not bow to your corruption." One of the Veilborn turned, its form solidifying into something vaguely humanoid. "You cannot stop the inevitable, Sovereign," it hissed, its voice like 1,000 whispers layered atop one another. Damon felt the resonance shift around him, the harmonic tones growing chaotic. Lysera raised her hands, and a barrier of light formed between them and the Veilborn. "Damon!" she called, her voice urgent. "The Nexus! You must attune to it and stabilize the resonance." "How the hell am I supposed to do that?" he shouted, panic rising. "Trust the resonance," Lysera replied, It will guide you. Damon hesitated, then stepped toward the nexus. The crystal's hum grew louder, vibrating through his entire body. He placed his hands on its surface, and a surge of energy coursed through him. Images flooded his mind. Memories, emotions, fragments of lives he didn't recognize. He felt the resonance, its rhythm like a heartbeat, steady and unyielding. Drawing on the connection, Damon focused, aligning himself with the crystal's energy. The chaotic tones began to shift, their dissonance fading into harmony. Behind him, Lysera and Terran held the Veilborn at bay, their combined efforts creating a barrier of light and sound. Finally, the resonance stabilized, its harmony spreading through the chamber like a wave. The Veilborn recoiled, their forms flickering before they vanished entirely. As the Nexus chamber fell silent, Damon slumped to the ground, his body trembling with exhaustion. Lysera knelt beside him, her gaze filled with something he couldn't quite identify. "You did it," she said softly. Damon managed a weak smile. "Don't sound so surprised." Lysera's lips curved into a faint smile of her own. "Perhaps I underestimated you, Damon Wells." For the first time, Damon felt a glimmer of belonging, a fragile connection, but one he was no longer so quick to deny. The air in the Hall of Resonance felt heavier, though its shimmering walls glowed with a calm, pulsing light. Damon Wells sat cross-legged on the crystalline floor, his head tipped back to rest against the cool surface of a column. Despite the victory at the Nexus, his body ached, and his mind was no less troubled than when he'd first arrived. Across the chamber, Lysera floated in meditative stillness. Her translucent skin shimmered faintly, reflecting hues of violet and gold, emotions Damon still struggled to decipher. "You know," Damon said, breaking the silence, "this whole destiny thing feels more like a bad deal than a grand cosmic plan." Lysera opened her eyes, the luminous irises focusing on him. "Destiny does not bargain, Damon. It simply is." He sighed. "You're really good at sounding wise without answering the question." Her lips curved faintly. A smile, though Damon wasn't entirely sure if it was genuine or exasperated. "You're restless," she observed. "Restless?" He let out a short laugh. "I'm stuck on an alien planet, fighting phantoms, and apparently tethered to some mystical resonance thing I barely understand. Yeah, I'd call that restless." Lysera rose, her movements fluid and precise. She approached him, her presence commanding, yet oddly comforting. "Perhaps it is time for you to see beyond your frustration, to understand more of what binds us." The next day, Lysera brought Damon to the Verdant Spire, a colossal tower of living crystal entwined with massive bioluminescent vines. Its base opened into a sprawling garden filled with flora that glowed softly in the planet's eternal twilight. "This place is—" Damon searched for the word. "Incredible." Lysera's expression softened as she led him deeper into the garden. The Verdant Spire is a sanctuary, a place where the resonance flows freely, unburdened by conflict. As they walked, Damon noticed that the plants seemed to react to their presence, their glow intensifying as Lysera passed. A massive bloom unfurled beside her, its petals shifting through shades of blue and green. He paused to touch one of the vines, its surface warm and pulsating gently under his fingers. "It's alive. I mean really alive." Lysera nodded. "The resonance flows through all things here. It is not merely a force, but a symbiosis. It sustains us, and we sustain it in return." For a moment, Damon was quiet, absorbing her words. "Earth isn't like this," he said eventually. "We don't have a connection like this to our world. Not anymore." Her gaze turned thoughtful. "And yet, you feel the resonance within you. That connection is not so easily severed, Damon. It merely lies dormant in some later." Lysera led Damon to a secluded clearing where a large crystalline pool mirrored the star-specked sky. Terran was already there, lounging on a rock with his usual air of nonchalance. "You brought him here?" Terran asked, raising an eyebrow at Lysera. "Brave move, Sovereign." What's that supposed to mean? Damon shot back. Terran smirked. This place reveals truths, human. You might not like what you see. Ignoring Terran's cryptic remark, Damon approached the pool. The water, or whatever passed for water on Firaxis Prime, was impossibly clear, yet it seemed to hold shifting images within its depths. He saw flashes of faces, places, and moments he couldn't recognize. What is this? He asked, glancing at Lysera. The pool of echoes, she replied. It reflects the resonance within you, your past, your present, and sometimes glimpses of what could be. Curious despite himself, Damon knelt at the edge of the pool and peered into its surface. At first, all he saw was his own reflection, distorted slightly by the rippling water. Then the image shifted, revealing a scene that made his breath catch. It was Earth, or what remained of it. A scorched wasteland stretched across the horizon, the sky choked with ash and smoke. In the center of the devastation stood Damon, older and battle-worn, his expression hardened. He recoiled from the image, his heart pounding. What? What is that? Lysera's voice was gentle but firm, a potential future, one where balance is lost and destruction reigns. Damon shook his head, standing abruptly. Number, that's not me, that can't be me. Terran rose from his perch, his tone unusually serious. The pool doesn't lie, human, but it doesn't set your path in stone either. It's just one possibility. That night, Damon couldn't sleep. The image from the pool haunted him, its implications weighing heavily on his mind. He wandered the corridors of the verdant spire until he found himself back at the crystalline garden. Lysera was there, seated on a low platform surrounded by glowing flowers. She looked up as he approached, her expression unreadable. Couldn't sleep? She asked. Not with that nightmare playing on repeat, Damon replied, sitting down beside her. They sat in silence for a moment before Lysera spoke. You fear the burden of what you have seen. That is understandable, but fear alone will not shape your path. Damon hesitated. Do you really think I have a choice? Or is this destiny of yours already decided? Her gaze softened, and she reached out to place a hand on his. The touch was warm, and the resonance hummed faintly between them. Choice is a part of the resonance, Damon. It is through choice that we create harmony, or discord. He looked at her, surprised by the vulnerability in her voice. For the first time, he saw not just the sovereign, but someone who had also faced loss, uncertainty, and doubt. Why do you care so much about what happens to me? He asked. Her skin shifted to a pale, luminous gold, a color Damon had come to associate with honesty. Because your fate is intertwined with mine, and because I see in you a strength you have yet to recognize. Damon managed a faint smile. You're not bad at the pep talks, you know that? Lysera returned his smile, her light brightening slightly. And you are not as lost as you think, Damon Wells. As dawn broke over the verdant spire, Damon felt a strange sense of clarity. The world around him was alien and daunting, but for the first time, he felt a faint glimmer of hope. Perhaps, he thought, there was a way to carve his own path through this strange new destiny, one where he could find harmony, not just with the resonance, but with himself. The crystalline skies of Firaxis Prime pulsed with ominous hues, their serene harmony fractured by a creeping dissonance. Damon Wells stood on the balcony of the verdant spire, gazing out at the city. He could feel the resonance deep in his chest, a rhythmic hum now tainted with static. Beside him, Lysera's glow had dimmed. Her usual confidence seemed eclipsed by a growing unease. She turned her golden eyes toward Damon, her voice softer than usual. They are moving faster than I anticipated. The Veilborn? Damon asked, though he already knew the answer. She nodded, her expression grim. The breach at the Nexus was only the beginning. Their influence spreads, and with it, the resonance weakens. If we do not act, our world will fall. Damon leaned against the railing, running a hand through his hair. You keep saying we, but let's be honest. This is way out of my league. Terran strolled into view, his usual smirk intact despite the dire circumstances. You're not giving yourself enough credit, human. After all, you did stop the last disaster from leveling the place. Barely, Damon muttered. Terran clapped a hand on Damon's shoulder. Then maybe this time, you'll get to show off some flair. The group convened in the Hall of Resonance, joined by several other Caraxi leaders. Their translucent forms shimmered with shifting colors as they discussed their options. The air was heavy with tension, the harmony of the chamber strained. The Veilborn have seized control of the luminous expanse, one of the leaders said, his voice resonating like a low chord. Without it, our ability to channel the resonance is severely compromised. Lysera folded her hands in front of her, her expression unreadable. We must take it back. The expanse is vital to stabilizing the resonance. A murmur of unease spread through the group. Terran leaned against the nearest column, his tone laced with sarcasm. Oh, sure. Just stroll into enemy territory and ask them nicely to leave. Sounds like a brilliant plan. Damon raised an eyebrow. Got a better idea? Terran shrugged. Not yet, but give me 5 minutes and a strong drink, and I'll see what I can come up with. Lysera shot him a sharp look before addressing the group. The Veilborn thrive on chaos. If we hesitate, they will only grow stronger. This is not a matter of preference, it is a necessity. The room fell silent, her words sinking in. Finally, Damon spoke up. If we're doing this, we need a real plan. No offense, but charging in blind doesn't seem like a great idea. Lysera met his gaze, a flicker of something, pride, crossing her features. Then let us prepare. Together. The journey to the luminous expanse was unlike anything Damon had experienced. The crystalline city gave way to vast, glowing plains where massive structures of refractive light jutted into the sky. The air itself seemed alive, shimmering with an ethereal energy that danced across Damon's skin. As they moved, Damon found himself walking beside Lysera. He glanced at her, noting the tension in her posture. You okay? She hesitated before answering. This place holds memories for me. It was once a sanctuary, a place of learning and connection. To see it twisted by the Veilborn is difficult. Damon softened. We'll get it back. You said it yourself. We're in this together. Lysera's glow shifted, a faint golden hue indicating gratitude. Thank you, Damon. Your presence has already made more of a difference than you realize. Terran, who had been scouting ahead, called out to them. Hate to interrupt the heart-to-heart, but we've got company. The Veilborn were waiting. Their shadowy forms moved like smoke, blending into the shimmering landscape. The resonance around them warped, creating a jarring dissonance that made Damon's head throb. Lysera stepped forward, her form glowing brighter. This place is not yours to claim. Leave now, and I will show mercy. The largest of the Veilborn solidified into a humanoid shape, its voice 1,000 discordant whispers. Mercy. From the sovereign who abandoned us. How quaint. Lysera's glow dimmed momentarily, a sign of hesitation Damon hadn't seen before. He stepped closer to her. What are they talking about? They were once part of our people, she admitted quietly. But they rejected harmony, choosing corruption instead. Their exile was necessary. The Veilborn leader laughed, a sound that grated against Damon's nerves. Necessary? Is that what you call betrayal? Before Damon could react, the Veilborn attacked. The battle was chaos. The resonance around them erupted into a cacophony of clashing tones, each strike from the Veilborn distorting the energy further. Lysera and the other Caraxi fought with precision, their movements fluid and almost dance-like as they wielded the resonance as both weapon and shield. Damon found himself in the thick of it, relying on instinct more than skill. He could feel the resonance coursing through him, responding to his will in ways he still didn't fully understand. He managed to deflect an attack aimed at Lysera, the energy rippling outward in a brilliant wave. "Not bad, human," Terran shouted, slicing through a shadowy figure with a blade of light. "Don't get used to it," Damon shot back, narrowly dodging another attack. Lysera, meanwhile, confronted the Veilborn leader directly. Their clash was a battle of wills as much as strength, the resonance around them bending and warping under the strain. "You cannot win," the leader hissed. "Your world will fall just as you once let us fall." Lysera's glow flared, her voice sharp. "I will not abandon my people again, nor will I let you destroy what we have built." With a final surge of energy, she overwhelmed the leader, the resonance snapping back into harmony as the Veilborn retreated. As the dust settled, Damon leaned against a glowing pillar, catching his breath. Terran approached, his usual smirk replaced by a rare look of respect. Not bad for someone who didn't even know what resonance was a week ago. Damon managed a weak laugh. "Thanks, I guess." Lysera joined them, her glow subdued but steady. "The expanse is secure for now, but this is far from over. The Veilborn will not stop until they have consumed everything." Damon looked at her, the weight of her words sinking in. "Then we'll just have to stop them first." For the first time, Lysera smiled, a real smile that lit up her entire being. "Together, we will." The skies above Firaxis Prime churned with storming energy, an unnatural blend of light and shadow tearing through the once harmonious hues. Damon Wells stood at the edge of a vast cliff overlooking the core nexus, the lifeblood of the planet's resonance. It pulsated with erratic bursts of power, its crystalline surface cracking under the strain of Veilborn corruption. Behind him, Lysera's glow burned brighter than ever, her golden hues tinged with a fiery red, anger, urgency, and something else Damon couldn't quite identify. "The core nexus can't withstand this dissonance for much longer," Lysera said, her voice a steady yet tense melody. "If it fractures completely, the resonance will collapse, taking all of Firaxis with it." Damon rubbed the back of his neck. "No pressure then. Just save an entire planet. Easy." From a boulder nearby, Terran chuckled, though the sound lacked its usual levity. "Welcome to the hero business, human. It's nothing but impossible odds and last-minute saves." Lysera shot Terran a sharp glance. "This is no time for your games. Every moment we delay gives the Veilborn more power." "I know, Sovereign," Terran replied, standing and adjusting his weapon. "That's why I'm here instead of sitting back at the spire with a drink." Damon stepped forward, breaking the tension. "So what's the plan? You said the Nexus needs to be stabilized. How do we do that?" Lysera hesitated, her glow dimming slightly. "To stabilize the Nexus, we must restore harmony to the resonance. But to do so, we need to sever the Veilborn's hold over it. They are entrenched in the Nexus's core chamber. Defeating them will require all of our strength. And a miracle," Terran added under his breath. The path to the core nexus was treacherous. The once glowing crystalline pathways were now jagged and unstable, corrupted by the Veilborn's influence. Shadows twisted and shifted around the group, their movements unnatural and foreboding. Damon gripped the resonance blade Lysera had taught him to conjure. Its light was faint but steady, a comforting presence in the oppressive darkness. He glanced at Lysera, who moved with quiet determination despite the chaos around them. "Hey," he said, breaking the silence. "You okay?" She glanced at him, her golden eyes softening for a moment. "I am focused." "Focused isn't the same as okay," Damon pointed out. Lysera hesitated before replying. "This place holds memories for me. I was here when the Veilborn first rose. I failed to stop them then. I cannot fail again." "You're not alone this time," Damon said firmly. "We'll get through this together." Her glow brightened faintly. "Thank you, Damon. Your faith strengthens me more than you know." They reached the Nexus chamber, a massive cavern of shimmering crystal now twisted and marred by black veins of corruption. The Veilborn waited within, their forms shifting and pulsing with chaotic energy. At their center stood the Veilborn leader, its humanoid shape towering and imposing. "You've come far, Sovereign," the leader said, its voice a discordant symphony. "But you're too late. The core nexus is ours." Lysera stepped forward, her glow blazing. "This is not your place. Your corruption ends here." The leader laughed, a sound that grated against the resonance itself. "Bold words from someone who abandoned us to this fate. Did you think we would forget? Forgive?" Lysera faltered, her glow dimming slightly. Damon stepped beside her, his voice steady. "She's not the same person you knew back then, and you don't get to rewrite her story." The leader's gaze shifted to Damon, its shadowy form rippling. "Ah, the outsider. You wield the resonance, yet you do not belong. How quaint." "Yeah, well, quaint is kind of my thing," Damon retorted, gripping his blade. The Veilborn leader roared, and the battle began. The chamber erupted into chaos. The resonance twisted and bent as Lysera and Terran fought with precision and skill, their movements a stark contrast to the Veilborn's chaotic attacks. Damon found himself in the thick of it, dodging strikes and countering with his blade. He could feel the resonance responding to him, amplifying his movements and sharpening his instincts. But it was also draining, the effort of maintaining harmony against the Veilborn's dissonance taking its toll. "Damon, to your left!" Terran shouted. Damon spun just in time to deflect a shadowy tendril aimed at his side. "Thanks." "Don't mention it," Terran said, slicing through another Veilborn. Lysera, meanwhile, confronted the leader directly. Their clash was a battle of wills as much as strength, the resonance around them warping and distorting under the strain. "You cannot win, Sovereign," the leader hissed. "The resonance belongs to us now." Lysera's glow flared, her voice unwavering. "The resonance belongs to all of us, and I will not let you destroy it." As the battle raged on, Damon noticed something strange. The core nexus pulsed more erratically, its energy threatening to spiral out of control. "Lysera!" he shouted. "The nexus! It's breaking down!" She turned to him, her expression grim. "We must act now. Damon, you must channel the resonance. Focus on harmony, on balance." "What? I don't even know how to do that," Damon protested. Lysera placed a hand on his shoulder, her touch steadying him. "You do. The resonance responds to your will. Trust yourself." Taking a deep breath, Damon closed his eyes and focused. He could feel the resonance coursing through him, chaotic and wild, but not beyond control. Slowly, he began to channel it, shaping it into something steady and harmonious. The Veilborn screamed as the resonance shifted, their forms dissolving into nothingness. The leader snarled, lunging at Damon, but Lysera intercepted it, her blade cutting through its shadowy form. As the last of the Veilborn vanished, the core nexus began to stabilize. The cracks in its surface healed, and its light grew brighter and purer. Damon collapsed to his knees, exhausted but relieved. "You did it," Lysera said, her voice filled with quiet pride. "We did it," Damon corrected, offering her a tired smile. Terran approached, looking surprisingly serious. "Not bad, human. Not bad at all." The three of them stood together, the restored resonance humming around them, a reminder of what they had saved and what was still to come. The crystalline spires of Firaxis Prime shimmered once more, their refracted light bathing the city in a serene glow. The resonance, now fully restored, pulsed through the air in perfect harmony. Yet even amidst the restored beauty, a quiet tension lingered. Damon Wells stood at the edge of the verdant spire, watching as the people of Firaxis celebrated their survival. Lysera approached, her glow warm but subdued. "You've been quiet since the nexus was stabilized," she said softly. Damon turned to her, his expression thoughtful. "Just trying to take it all in. This place, everything we've been through, it's a lot to process." Lysera nodded, stepping closer. "You have given more to my people than I ever could have asked. For that I am forever grateful." He gave her a small, tired smile. "It wasn't just me. We did this together." And the trio gathered in the Chamber of Harmony, where the Caraxi leaders had assembled to discuss the final aftermath of the Veilborn threat. The chamber was vibrant once again, its resonance a soothing melody that filled the air. "The Veilborn have been banished from the core nexus," one of the leaders said, their translucent form glowing with relief. "The resonance will hold thanks to your efforts." Lizra inclined her head. "It was a collective victory, but the danger is not entirely gone. The Veilborn may return, and we must remain vigilant." Terran, leaning casually against a column, smirked. "Oh, come on, Sovereign. Can't we at least enjoy the moment? The bad guys are gone, the Nexus is glowing again, and even Damon here managed not to die." "Thanks for the vote of confidence," Damon said dryly. The room rippled with soft laughter, a sign of relief after the recent chaos. But even amidst the light-heartedness, Damon could sense the weight on Lysera's shoulders. Later, Damon found her in the gardens surrounding the spire. The crystalline flora glowed faintly in the evening light, their resonance a soft hum that matched the tranquility of the moment. "You've been avoiding the celebration," Damon said, approaching her. Lysera glanced at him, her expression contemplative. "There is much to celebrate, but also much to reflect upon. The Veilborn were once my people. Their fall was my failure." "Lysera," Damon hesitated, searching for the right words. "You can't carry that blame forever. You've done everything you could to protect this world, and you didn't do it alone this time." Her golden eyes met his, filled with a mixture of gratitude and sorrow. "You speak with such conviction. It is reassuring. And yet, I fear I will never forgive myself fully." Damon stepped closer, his voice gentle but firm. "You don't have to do this alone anymore. I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere." Her glow brightened slightly, a faint smile crossing her lips. "You truly are a remarkable being, Damon Wells." The peace did not last long. An urgent call summoned them to the outer reaches of the crystalline plains, where the remnants of Veilborn corruption had coalesced into a final, desperate attack. Damon, Lysera, and Terran led the charge, their movements perfectly synchronized after everything they had been through. The battle was fierce, but unlike before, the resonance now worked in their favor, its harmony empowering their every strike. Damon found himself facing a Veilborn wraith, its form smaller but no less deadly. It lunged at him with razor-sharp tendrils, but he countered with a burst of resonance energy, the blade in his hand shining brighter than ever. "Nice move, human," Terran called, slicing through another wraith nearby. "I learn from the best," Damon quipped, grinning despite the danger. The battle ended in victory, the Veilborn's final remnants scattered into nothingness. As the energy around them settled, Damon looked to Lysera, who stood tall and resolute, her glow radiant against the darkened plains. "You did it," he said, approaching her. "We did it," she corrected, her smile soft but genuine. Terran joined them, clapping a hand on Damon's shoulder. "Not bad for a human. You might actually survive in this galaxy." Damon rolled his eyes but laughed. "High praise coming from you." As they returned to the verdant spire, the trio stood together, overlooking the city. Terran broke the silence first, his tone unusually sincere. "You know, I didn't think you'd last a day here, Damon, but you proved me wrong. Don't let it go to your head." "Wouldn't dream of it," Damon replied, grinning. Terran nodded at Lysera. "Take care of him, Sovereign. He's a bit reckless, but he grows on you." With that, he walked away, leaving the two alone. Lysera turned to Damon, her expression softer than he had ever seen. "You have changed much since you arrived, Damon. You have shown courage, kindness, and an unyielding spirit. I owe you more than words can convey." He shook his head. "You don't owe me anything. If anything, I should be thanking you. You showed me a world I never thought I'd see, and you gave me a reason to fight for something bigger than myself." Their eyes met, the resonance around them humming softly, as if echoing their connection. "You are more than I could have ever imagined, Damon Wells," Lysera said, her voice filled with warmth. "And you're not half bad yourself," Damon replied, his grin softening into something more genuine. For a moment, the world seemed to pause, the harmony of Firaxis Prime wrapping around them like a gentle embrace. The journey had changed them both, forging a bond neither had expected, but both had come to cherish. As the stars above shimmered, Damon reached out, taking Lysera's hand in his. "So, what's next?" Lysera smiled, her glow brighter than ever. "Whatever comes, we will face it together." And for the first time in a long while, Damon felt truly at home.